This is my week 1 interactive journal for EDSU 533C. My name is Brett Smithley, and we'll be discussing equity, equality, and mathematics. The differences between equity and equality. Equity deals with individuals. It's something that can be adapted, and it creates a fairness among those individuals. It's the absence of avoidable or remedial differences, whereas equality is focused on the group. It deals with a more generic terms, and you have where everyone is equal across the board. An example of equity would be a student not having internet access at home to perform homework. And an example of equality is everyone has the same rights, opportunities, or resources. So there's no bias against any one group. Where equity deals with the individual and how we can make a level playing field for each individual in our classrooms. When dealing with a mathematics classroom, we have equality. We're going to treat all the students the same regardless of race, color, or creed. They're all students trying to learn mathematics. When we're talking about equity in a mathematics classroom, we want to try and provide adaptations based on their individual needs so that they have the same opportunity to learn mathematics content as every other student, regardless of social status, race. And when we're talking about equity, we're talking about individuals that may have a disability, ELL student, someone that has cultural or ethnic diversity, gender, students with low motivation, and gifted students. So dealing with disability, we may have to provide them certain accommodations or modifications that allows them to understand the content and to do the work at the same pace as the rest of the students. When we're talking about someone that's an English language learner, we may need to provide them with materials that are in their native language. We want to focus on vocabulary. Someone that is from a different culture or has ethnic diversity, we want to make sure that we can access prior knowledge. We want to make a connection between their cultures and the cultures in the United States that we're dealing with that pertains to the mathematic content. Gender, we want to understand differences between the male and females and different needs that they might have that apply to the classroom. Dealing with students that have low motivation, we want to encourage them. We want to make sure that they remain resilient in their efforts to succeed in the class, so we can support them in those ways. And then you have also gifted students, so a student that might be bored at the level of that we're moving through the class or the lesson. We want to make sure that we can challenge them. When dealing with the mathematics standards of the Common Core, I've selected the standard use volume formulas for cylinders, pyramids, cones, and spheres to solve problems. So the way that I'll address equity with this standard, I want to activate prior knowledge. I want to show the students pictures of each object, and then also I want to pass around physical examples of each object so that they can make that connection. An example of a cylinder might be a soup can, or if I bring in an actual model, a physical model of a pyramid that they can touch and feel and see all the different sides instead of seeing it in a two-dimensional picture. And then also I could give them a construction cone or a basketball to represent a sphere. Then I also, when we get into the lesson, I want to make sure that through verbal and written methods, I want to give them the definitions of each volume formula so that they can identify that. And also I'll provide them measurement tools to conduct the activity. So the activity that I would choose for this Common Core standard would be, I would use small heterogeneous groups, and we would calculate the actual volume of each of those objects provided in class so that they would have hands-on application using the measurement tools and then using that information as a group to collectively solve the volume problems for each of those objects. And afterwards, we would have a discussion on identifying objects in everyday life that are also cylinders, pyramids, cones, or spheres. So that way that they can apply this knowledge to their everyday life and in their environment.